everyone, how are we doing? We are live, Coffee with Arj. Let's get people in. Let's make sure, do our usual setup. Can you hear me? Can you see me? Right, so I've got a few setups here. I've got my laptop over here running the whole stream, phone over here with your questions. Hopefully they will pop up on my feed. If you can hear me, give me the thumbs up, say you can hear me, and also, usual thing, comment if you, comment with where you're watching this first, actually. First things first, where are you watching this? Tag someone that you think will benefit from today's video. Share this with your followers, share this on your feed. That would be amazing if you would do that. Just going to give you all a few minutes to log in. Hopefully this is going to work for you all. Amazing last week, actually. 57 minutes, I think it was. 57 minutes worth of conversation, worth of information coming across. Lots of discussion. Really enjoyed last week. Really enjoyed it. So Coffee with Arj today, and I'm hopefully going to be able to cover two topics, just two topics today, or three. I think it might be three topics actually. Let's have a look. Three topics, yes. So fad diets, massage gun. So my first impressions of the massage gun. That's not massage gun. That's the massage gun, percussive massage, and then glute work. The importance of glute work, really. But as usual, if anyone asks anything live, I know we've got a completely new time again. It's because of my coaching commitments on a Sunday. So, going to give you all a second to tune in. Doesn't look like we'll have any live questions today. Let's see what happens. So usual things though, please do comment with any of your questions, even if it's after the live. If you're watching this on the rerun, thank you very much for joining us. I'm going to go through those three topics, but if you comment with a question, I will definitely discuss it in the following week's session. We had caffeine and creatine, those kind of things discussed last week. Not many of you in here today joining us. That's strange, isn't it? I wonder if we're being shown very well or not. But fingers crossed you can hear me. Yeah, fingers crossed you can hear me. Tag a friend, share this on your page. Make sure some people are joining you. I'm going to kick off in 30 seconds. If there are any issues with hearing me, do say. I would hate it to be the case that you can't quite hear or see me. Right, let's kick straight off. Our first topic then, fad diets, and things to that degree of kind of a magic pill solution. This is a really big problem right now. It was a big problem, and it has been a big problem for a long period of time, but then it seemed to have died off for about 12 months or so. I'm just noticing. Who's been watching Last Chance? I was going to say Last Dance. Up here. Bulls. Nice new t-shirt, thank you very much. So, fad diets have suddenly sprung up again. I think it might be something to do with the lockdown that we're going through, but there's a lot of bad information starting to spring up. I've been noticing it on my feeds. There's a particular advert on YouTube which opens with, have you been told to eat less, move more, and that's the best way to lose weight? And this is an actual advert that keeps cropping up on my YouTube feed. I looked at how to block it, how to ban it, because the message then goes on to say, we've all heard these messages before, but that's not the best way of losing weight. That's actually a really difficult way to lose weight. The way you want to lose weight is this. And he goes on and says a load of rubbish. And obviously it's a bro looking guy in a vest, with a vest pack full of muscles, and therefore he's the man to listen to. But that message of eating less and moving more is not the best way to lose body fat is absolute rubbish. Forget all these magic pills, forget all the fad diets. There is one principle that works, and that is the calorie deficit. It's consuming less energy than the amount of energy you burn. Creating this calorie deficit is the only way you can burn more fat, lose weight, full stop. All of these different methods actually, hey Fran, how are we doing? Actually kind of all create a calorie deficit if they're to work in one way or another. If you are watching this, I cannot see you unless you say hi, by the way. So do write hi, tag someone in this you think would benefit, click share, send it to your profile. That would be brilliant. Only a couple of you in today. That's a little bit surprising. We had lots over the last few weeks. Anyway, so if you look at things like intermittent fasting or the high protein diet or the high carb diet or the high fat diet or SERT or any of these different types of diets that seem to be kind of trawling around the internet, they all rely on one mechanism to work, and that's creating a calorie deficit. Those kind of ones I've just mentioned usually reduce the food options. They remove a food group, and therefore that's how you create a calorie deficit, because you're basically saying you can't eat any of these foods over here, and therefore your choice of foods that possibly you'll always go to will be reduced, and therefore the likelihood is you're going to consume less calories. Now, this guy was talking about some expensive method to losing body fat, and that's the best way to do it because it's sold by him. But realistically, he's wrong. There is only one method to losing body fat, and that really is just from a calorie deficit. How you create that calorie deficit is completely up to you and what works for you best. There are things called aggressive dieting, and aggressive dieting isn't for everyone. It's definitely not for everyone, actually. It's certainly not for people who have any kind of clinical conditions, unless it's supervised by a clinician or it's done within that kind of environment, a lab-based environment, or a metabolic ward, those kind of things. But aggressive dieting works very well for people like me, who want to see results very quickly. And aggressive dieting basically means consume as fewer calories as possible. That allows you to continue with your normal day-to-day activities and do it for a short period of time. You witness goals very quickly. That's a reward. So you do it for a little bit more, and those goals being, I've hit a particular weight, or I'm able to fit in these jeans, or hey, my shirt looks better, my t-shirt looks better, my blouse looks better, whatever it is. And that basically creates some motivation for you to continue. Aggressive dieting, though, doesn't work for everyone. Interestingly, it has seen improvements in health markers quite quickly. Those health markers generally relating to diabetic conditions. So things that basically will sound an alarm for, if you carry on down this trajectory, you're going to risk yourself going into a type 2 diabetic phase, blah, blah, blah. So when I say phase, I mean basically conditions. Anyway, so I'm seeing loads and loads of these fad diet things popping up. And this is really an emergency message for you all. Do not, or announcement for you, do not fall for them. Do not fall for the guy on YouTube. Do not fall for the ones on Instagram which are saying have these healthy products and that will reduce and burn the fat off your body that nothing else has. It's not true. A lot of the time, it's going to increase your chance of reliance and then a downward spiral. Whereas the best way to diet, is realistically have your own set of tools. You have a toolbox full of different types of things that suit you at that time. So now is not the time to aggressively diet. Now is not really the time to diet during a high stress environment that lockdown is. For me right now, I am not aggressively dieting. Starting now though, I am just starting to basically trickle down my calories ever so slightly. I like to track, I find it works for me, but you don't have to track calories. tracking calories with an app doesn't suit everyone. For me, it's really useful. It basically gives me this picture. I like numbers, and it gives me an idea of where I'll be heading. I also use a bunch of maths, which basically predicts what kind of weight, etc. I will be at if I keep doing this for a period of time. And this is what I use with our clients and athletes, because this basically acts as another reward mechanism. But if you come across some kind of fad diet, question on how it actually works. If it's about increasing a food that you consume, you really should be thinking, eating more calories, does that create the result I need, a calorie deficit? So that's topic one. Topic one about fad diets. If you have any questions whatsoever, post them in the comments, whether it's now, live, or if it's on the rerun, no problem whatsoever. And I will get back to you, whether it's in this feed or if it's next week's live. I will always, always, always do my very best to answer everyone's questions. Like last week. Last week we had all these extra questions, which had pretty much nothing to do with the initial topics. One of them maybe. And it created loads of extra conversation for about half an hour. So really interesting. If you are watching this, please, please, please do click like, wow, haha, do those things now. Tag someone you think would benefit from it and share it on your profile. We're trying to communicate with as many people as possible. Trying to help as many people as possible as well. That's really important to us. I'm going to see. Fran, if you are watching right now, just type something. I want to just see if it is coming up on the screen. That would be amazing if you wouldn't mind. I cannot see who is live. It's very frustrating. Anyway, so topic two. Massage guns. You might have seen these actually. They've become very popular and I was very intrigued, and I spent basically the last 18 months maybe of just, Ace, thanks Fran. A little bit concerned that the feed wasn't coming through for everyone there. And if you're watching on YouTube, write in the comments below and I'll do my best to answer your questions as well. By the way, do you guys get these automated captions below, just here? Kind of blocks my banner actually a little bit, doesn't it? Someone's just joined us. If you have joined us, I can't see you unless you write hi. So say hello and I'll say hello back to you. Grab your coffee. So massage guns, like I was saying, I was becoming particularly interested. Jake, Jake, how are we doing? I've been wondering how you've been doing actually. Need to reply. I know you're a very, very busy man right now. So I was wondering really at the effectiveness of these massage guns. Percussive massage is effectively a massage gun, and these have been around actually for quite some time, but my brain was always a questioning brain, and therefore I had maybe a few doubts over the popularity over them being more about its novelty than its actual effectiveness. And therefore, I've held back. And I spoke to my physio friend and basically said to him, look, I know you have one of these. How do you rate it in terms of equipment and strategies? And similar to what we were just saying with the diet, he said, it's another tool that you can utilize. It's another method to achieving some kind of goal, some kind of target that you wish to do so. So with the massage gun, you can see the pricing difference. I mean, you can find some on Amazon for like, I think £60, something like that, all the way through to £399. Some of the big ones, the Hypervolt and stuff like that, they're the big game changers, the industry leaders probably is the best word. And those are the ones which lots of people and lots of magazines have been reviewing. But that's an awful lot of money basically to put out, unless you're a commercial user, unless you're a physiotherapist, for example. Spending that kind of money on some self-massage effectively, and when you're not entirely sure of how best to use it, is a big commitment. Therefore, I was actually looking at the lower range ones, some of these cheaper ones on Amazon. Someone extra has just joined. Say hi, otherwise I can't see you. I'd love to say hello to you. So I basically spoke to my physio friend and said, look, looking at all of these here, they all have different RPMs, you know, how fast the massage gun hits you, how deep it can hit your tissue, you know, with what kind of force. There's a lot of variability in terms of what they all do, what they offer. There's obviously a lot of different attachments that you can get, and it's kind of like, do you need 6 attachments? I don't know what each attachment does. My physio friend basically put forward one in particular. This was an £80 one. Ian, hello Ian, how are you doing? Andy, hello Andy. Zana, if you're with Andy, hello. And yeah, so I basically went through the different functions with my friend and said, look, looking for a cheaper gun, it's not going to be used as much as you would use one. Would you consider one in your toolbox? And he basically said, yes, it's a tool I use. It reduces the stress on my thumbs, but a massage gun basically works by stimulating blood flow to the body, to the target area that you're working on. So it's not kind of like a magic solution to pain or anything like that. It's just doing exactly what your normal hand massage would do, perhaps with a little less intricacy, because you know this dexterity does allow us to do some more complicated movements, say with muscle tissue. But if you can't access a physio, which is probably quite difficult right now, you can have an online consultation with them, excellent, and then they can recommend you some things to do. And then if you're looking for actual massage work and just basic work, it is a good tool to use. I've basically been using it for the last 7 days, 7 to 10 days really, and I found it particularly beneficial in my calves. Now my calves have been really tight. For lots of you who have started running or running a greater volume of distance over the last few weeks because of lockdown, you will find that unless you are stretching your calves more, I'm not, because I'm particularly lazy when it comes to stretching. Unless you are stretching it more, you will find there's a gradual build up in tension in your calf and therefore your feet, or vice versa, in your feet and then therefore your calf. And that needs to be addressed somehow. And to address that, yes, we need to be stretching. We need to do some static stretching post-exercise. Always post-exercise, never before. But in addition to that, some deep tissue work, and rolling is great. I actually think lacrosse ball rolling seems to be more effective than the massage gun. The only difference is you have to work harder. The massage gun, you literally hold the gun like this and then pull the trigger and it does all of the effort for you. The gun I'm using has 20 different levels of intensity. To be honest, I reckon it comes down to about 5 different levels, you know, zones 1 to 5, 6 to 10, etc. But it has 4 different attachments. I've used 3 of them. One looks like a fork, and I'm a bit scared of that one, so I haven't used that one. But in terms of working the bulky area of my my calf and then into my Achilles and my feet, I've used 3 different attachments now on those areas, and I've found it particularly useful pre-run, almost as a warm-up, a preparation exercise. If it's useful, drop it in the comments saying that you would like to know which one I'm using, and I'll find it afterwards and I'll put a link to the Amazon page. There's no sponsorship, there's no money gain or anything like that. It's just this has been pretty useful. I've used it for 7 days and I've noticed when I use it before running, it's been quite effective. It's been quite effective at improving my ankle mobility because I've been doing some ankle circles whilst I've been working on my calf and my Achilles area. But in terms of long-term progress, I've not seen anything yet. 7 to 10 days isn't going to tell me anything. But I do understand now the usefulness of a massage gun. And if you're looking at them, that there isn't necessarily a need, unless you're going to use one regularly like a physiotherapist or a sports therapist, to get one of these £399 ones or so. You know, 150, maybe that's a little bit different. The price difference between the 150 and the £86 one I bought isn't that much. And I think Martin, actually, from our running group, has one. So Martin, if you watch this, I would love to know your thoughts about it. If you're joining us live, then even so, more so, you know, write down here and let me know. Right, at this point, 2 topics done, way faster than last week. I know 57 minutes was long last week. So please, please, please click share to your profile, write a little message. Don't click share now, no one does those. share, and then write a little comment of why you should join us on this page. We've had a top of 17 people watching live. The last few weeks, I've changed the times around. I'm sorry. Our coaching had to take priority, unfortunately. Actually, I love coaching, so not that sorry. And yeah, tag someone in the comments if you think they will benefit from watching this video. If you have any questions, Chris Thorley, hello Chris. Well done. 4 miles every 4 hours. I believe you're doing it. Have you finished it, Chris? Let me know. That is very, very impressive. What's your average K speed been, Chris? That'd be interesting. What was I saying? Oh yeah, if you have a question, pop it in the comments right now. We've only got one more topic to go through, and I will go through that very shortly. But I would really, really appreciate it if you share this message, tag people, because that does help the Facebook algorithm. It really annoys me saying that word because it's used so often, but it does help. It does help Facebook, tell Facebook basically to tell more people that we're live. Fran says, we have a ZTA Zatli. It was about £80, definitely worth it, as Jake's attention span for giving massages about 3 seconds. Yeah. So I can appreciate that. It is quite a demanding thing having to give a massage, and a lot of people aren't that confident in how to give the massage or how hard, and this basically gives you set intensities, and obviously it's percussive, it's a punching mechanism, so you can't do many things that a physiotherapist would do. So it's not a replacement for a physio or a sports therapist, but it's a useful tool to have at home. Now use it wisely. I haven't, and I probably wouldn't ever go anywhere near the spine with one. I don't know what the ZTALEE is, the Zatli is, but it sounds like it's similar price range as well. Right, so if you have any questions, pose your questions. We're going to discuss glute work now. Make sure this mic is the right way up. Cool. Actually, as well, guys, is the feed smoother today? It looks a lot smoother. It looks clearer. Just a brand name. Very complicated brand name, isn't it, Fran? You thought they would go with something a little bit easier to say. Then again, mine's called Performance Physique. It's the longest brand name in the world. So, glute work. Glute work basically is something which loads of people are now like prioritizing, pushing out there, saying you must do it because of switching on, muscle firing. And I'm guilty of that. I'm 100% guilty of that. Just remember why you're doing the glute work. I do a glute activation with, every single one of our athletes and our clients. I do it in a smaller batch within our classes, so our Tuesday night fitness class and our Friday night track club. We all need this glute work, and I've noticed that particularly by joining in with some of those routines, I have started to improve my foot landing, my glutes. I haven't been training squats, I haven't been doing any kind of resistance work really, and therefore I was noticing that I wasn't necessarily picking up my legs and pushing into the ground when I performed an exercise, pretty much running. And I noticed there was a little bit of pain that I was starting to develop, or a little bit of laziness in my action. So I've started investing time in this glute activation work and developing a bit of glute strength. And the idea is basically, you're sat down for such a long period of time during the day that because you're sat down and you slouch most of the time, you basically stop supporting yourself to its full necessary requirement. And therefore, your glute muscles over time become weaker, your core muscles become weaker, so your core, lower back and abdominal strength. I hate saying that word, core. And then when you perform an exercise, you perform a movement, you then find yourself performing it inefficiently or inaccurately, so you're not doing it quite right. And this often is to do with this firing thing. Your muscles basically aren't working hard, or aren't actually saying, oh, I need to activate myself now to do an exercise. And therefore, for example, if your glute isn't firing correctly, isn't firing to full capacity, you might have your knees dropping in. So your running should be here and your knees start dropping in, or as you pick your knee up, your knee comes towards the midline of your body. And basically by performing these glute exercises, like clams, like side-lying adductors and abductors, or glute bridges, they're fantastic, glute marches, all of these exercises, you know, you can perform them as for a shorter duration or as long as duration as you want, but if by investing just 5 minutes every couple of days in these few exercises, it can actually improve your performance in whatever sport you're doing. Now, that isn't limited to just land impact sports. If you're performing something in the water, you will benefit from having a stronger glute, from having stronger glutes, without a doubt. If you're performing a team sport, change of direction is greatly impacted. If you're performing a sport that involves some kind of jumping, some kind of actual bouncy movement or explosive change of direction, you 100% need to be investing in glute work. I just have noticed an awful lot of people will say, you need to do glute work to fix that. You need to do glute work to fix that. Think about your movement, think about what you're doing and say, okay, what am I not doing and what am I doing? How much time do I need to spend in this exercise? If I'm doing these exercises, are you actually doing them correctly? You know, small changes like lying slightly back as you do your clams or your side-lying adductors actually reduce the amount of work your glutes are doing. Simply by rolling slightly further forwards onto your hip, you're going to see massive, massive improvements. And it's those small changes which is why it's useful to have a coach watch you whilst you do these exercises, or get a mirror and do it in front of the mirror just to make sure you're performing them correctly. Definitely include some glute work. I know I spoke last week or the week before about the importance of resistance training whilst being an endurance runner, and because I received this message, why bother doing it? And it's basically because you need a stronger frame, particularly if you're an endurance runner and you're going to be running for a long periods of time. You need to have a stronger frame to make sure your muscles are working to secure your body to basically to reduce injury prevalence. The chance of injury when your form fails you because you haven't got enough muscle mass, enough muscular endurance to perform the exercise correctly. Anyway, that is the reason for glute activation. I think you're about 30 to 40 seconds behind me. So I'm going to give you 60 seconds to post any questions, and then we are going to cut it there, 30 minutes, back down to our 30-minute time slot. That was our target. Unless you have any questions. I love answering live questions. There's five of you online today, which is cool, so thank you very much for joining. Remember, click like, love, haha, wow, if some of this information has been useful. I'm trying to give it as much free expert advice as possible, nutrition, running, training, every single week. It's the little things that I enjoy doing because sport, health, well-being, this is really my passion. So if I can give back in some manner, I really, really do want to. There's 5 of you watching, a few of you have said hi. I would love to say hi back to you personally. I can only see you, however, if you write hi. It's the only way to help. Who else has got a hot drink with them? No cocktails today from me. 6 of us in here. Say hello. Hit like, love, haha, wow. If you have a question, Claire Finley. Yes, we wish we were back at Galley Bay too. Hey Rach, how are you Rach? Any questions to kick things off? Claire, Rach, Chris, if you're still with us, Fran, Jake, any questions whatsoever, health, nutrition, running, training, fitness, or if you want to know about my bartending skills, you can ask about those as well. Is everyone still getting the automated captions down here as well? I'm wondering if that's just a function I've got. So we've talked about fad diets, we've talked about massage guns, really impressed with the one I'm using at the moment, and we talked a little bit about why to do some glute work, seeing a lot of it posted around from Insta trainers, just be wary actually about who you follow on Instagram. I was speaking to athlete recently who was basically saying they'd seen some exercises on Instagram and were looking to incorporate them. And I basically said, most of the people posting these exercise routines have no idea about the exercises themselves, why they should be doing them, why they shouldn't be doing them, how to perform them correctly. But their Instagram is really useful for getting inspiration of how to mix up your exercises. Some of them will be useless. I've seen some hilarious variations to squats that you can perform, which is more like a dance routine than actual beneficial exercise. But if it's just to get a little bit of movement and burn a few more calories, cool. If you're looking for strength, power, mobility, or all those kind of things, it's generally not. But use Instagram wisely. Don't take it for gospel. Ask your coach about certain exercises, but use it for inspiration to just vary things up. My actual own training. Here we go. This is something interesting. My actual own training, and I was saying to Rach, actually, I think it was this week, I haven't really been training very well. I've been running well, but not training resistance work. Just couldn't be bothered. So I did a little bit this week, and little bit sums it up. I don't want to do structured, formal training at the moment. It's not interesting me. However, I do want to exercise, and therefore I'm keeping it fun. I'm doing some jumping. I'm doing some squats in there mixed with some plyometrics exercises, with some running drills. All stuff which will benefit me to some degree. Maybe not as much as structured exercise or formalized training programs, but it's really useful. The running program that I wrote for the 10K group that Ian's in, that's been brilliant. That has seen me and many others stick to a program and achieve some goals along the way. And that structure has really helped me. But in terms of a training program for resistance, I haven't got the patience right now. Coaching or working pretty much all the time, and therefore do I want to then see another program and adhere to it myself? No. So I'm just trying to keep things fun. If you're struggling with that kind of motivation, maybe take a step back and think, what things, what exercises, what movements do you really find fun, do you enjoy doing, and perform those. Maybe just do them randomly as well. Don't maybe stick them in a routine of 5 exercises that you do this many repetitions. Just make it up as you go and see what you do. Obviously, if you have a coach session once or twice or 3 times a week, maybe speak to your coach just about how you can embed them within your week. If you're one of those lucky ones who are absolutely loving the structure of a program at this particular time, because I know routine really helps, then excellent. Stick to it and keep pushing forward, because the benefits of a program is basically they're tuned towards achieving a goal. Hence, the running program for me, tuned towards hitting a particular goal, has really worked. It's the resistance stuff that hasn't really taken my fancy at this moment in time. Right, that's more than 60 seconds. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining us. Usual thing, if you have any questions, pop them in the comments. If I don't answer them written, that's because I'm going to answer them next week on the live Q&A. I know I'm dotting these live Q&As around on Sundays at the moment, but we're going to continue doing them. I've absolutely loved them. I would love to get the figures back up to 17 people watching live, because that was really cool. Thank you for watching. If you can all click like, love, haha, wow, now, that would be amazing. And yes, let me know if you have any questions. Email us, info@performancephysique.co.uk if you need any help, or send us a message. And I'll see you all soon. Enjoy your bank holiday, because it's Bank Holiday Monday tomorrow, isn't it? I kind of forgot that. Amazing. See you all soon. Take care, stay safe, stay alert.